Hi, Ben.
Oh look, the video quality's better now, and it runs at a high frame rate. It's almost as if I didn't play around with the settings as much as I should have done. Anyway, so yeah, Lizardmen versus Chaos. Not the setup I promised you, but the setup that you're gonna get. But this is good because it shows off lots of different Lizardmen units. It's not the most technical battle you're ever gonna see, but it is a good one nevertheless. So the sort of um, overarching objective of Warhammer 2 is to complete 5 rituals, and there's 4 different factions: Lizardmen, Skaven, High Elves, Dark Elves, all competing to complete the rituals first. But every time you complete a ritual, it opens up a rift, and through this rift, the Chaos come, and they are drawn to your ritual site. So it is not only a race between you and the other factions to collect resources and build the rituals first, but also once the rituals have started, to defend yourself against waves and waves of chaos. This is quite an easy fight, so it's not going to be very dramatic, but the troops are very, very cool to look at. Can I just turn off some of these? Yeah, that's better. Yeah, perfect. There we go. Okay, so Lizardmen, they work on like a caste system, and they are headed by the Slann Mage Priest, these big fat toad people. And the big fat toad people, they're like the leaders. They know how shit do. But they also, uh, God, what am I even saying? Yeah, they oversee the hatching of the lower castes. Now, a lower caste doesn't necessarily mean that the lizard men are in a slave sort of society. They're not. They all work together in a big sort of commune. They do have currency, but they all work together. The lowest caste, as it were, the worker and artisan caste, are the Skinks. And the Skinks are amongst my favourites. The Skinks are a little bit shorter than a human. As you can see, they're like these bandy little lizard people. This is a javelin cohort, so they have poison-tipped javelins that they use to skirmish and harass the enemy before the main lines close in. One up from the Skinks, who are like your super basic low-tier infantry. Even though they have 30 armor, they're pretty tough, are the old Skinks. You have the Saurus. Now, the Saurus are the ones that I was telling you about yesterday, the ones that are like second tier, and they're super overpowered, consider how early in the game you get them. You can see there that they start off with, they've got 66 now because I've got a buff for them, but they start off with 60 armor, which is double the amount of a normal Empire State Trooper. Weapon strength of 57 is ludicrously high, and an attack of 46 and 40 means that they can really put the hurt to the enemies, and they have standard movement speeds. So the Saurus, the Lizardmen are my favourite faction, partly because look at the amount of detail that goes into them. I know I'm moving the screen around a lot, so it's hard to tell, but like they've got all these golden bangles because they're modeled on the Aztecs. They've got all these golden bangles around them, these little frills of feathers on the backs of their legs and stuff, and the little pups on the tops of their heads. And the Saurus have got these big, like horny plates on the top, and their weapons are all like big clubs tipped with obsidian, very very Aztec. Really really cool. So those are your Saurus warriors. A small upgrade sees them with shield, but their markations are the same. If you look closely, you can even see the individual little scales on their legs. They're really really nice to look at. Um, Most factions would have something called a Regiment of Renown. So when you do certain deeds in the world, you unlock a Regiment of Renown, and they fight harder and last longer and are braver than the standard ones of their kind. But because the lizard men are spawned in big clutches called spawnings, um, sometimes an event occurs which blesses them. So it can be like the movement of the stars, it can be a certain cycle of moons, but either way, sometimes you get something called blessed units. So these are my standard Saurus. Very scary faces, very scary bodies, big tough guys, slightly taller than a human when they stand to their full height. These are Blessed Saurus, and you can immediately tell the difference between them. These guys have got these really bright red demarcations on their skulls, whereas these ones are blue and gold. So I actually have 3 with me right now: the third, second, and first Blessed cohort. I've called them those. And down the line, you'll see a mirror of what we saw on the other side: more Saurus and more Saurus. Where's my general gone to? So my general is Kroq-Gar. He's this dude up here, he isn't this one. Kroq-Gar is an ancient Saurus. Now, the Lizardmen live to be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old anyway, and when 500 years old is considered to be sort of young, middle-aged, ancient, God knows what that means. But Kroq-Gar, he is the last Saurus of his hatching. I think it was only him and 8 other Saurus that came from the hatching, and they were all destined for greatness. You can see he's completely clad in gold. An armor of 120 is incredibly tough. Big old health pool, lots and lots of damage, anti-large and armor pierce and anti-infantry thanks to his mount. He's got a golden arm, big scary teeth, and he's riding a horned one. A horned one is a kind of blessed raptor that move faster and bite harder than the cold one raptors that most of the Lizardmen will ride into battle. And again, lovely details around the armor, very Aztec designs, lots of jagged lines, curls, beautiful. Kroq-Gar, absolute baller, big frills, big damage. Like I was saying, with like sometimes an event occurs which blesses them, Skinks can also be blessed. So this is a skink. This is a skink priest. He has the law of the heavens, so he has lots of allied buff spells and a few bombardment spells. But I've called him Stinky Lizard because he kept on failing an action that I told him to do. Obviously, he's marked out by having this golden helmet. He has a better weapon, and he has more feathers. Cool guy. Not much damage, but some cool spells. The skinks, if they're cultivated in the right way, skink eggs can also give rise to a creature called a Kroq-Gar. So technically the skinks and the Kroq-Gars are the same species, but they're slightly, I don't know, evolved? I don't know how their eggs work, to be honest. But these are the Kroq-Gars, and these form the monstrous infantry of the Lizardmen's army. It sort of goes without saying why they're called Kroq-Gars. It's a massive fucking hench crocodile, and they use a variety of weapons. Sometimes they'll use the teeth of greater beasts and sling them onto a staff, or they'll use these big ceremonial axes, but these are called Section 1 because I class them as humane killers because, Jesus, once you start seeing them smash Skaven, once you see them rat smashing, then you'll know that they are quick deaths. But yeah, Section 1. High damage, very high health, very high armor. Amazing. Over here, we have one of my favorite units in the game. This is a Stegodon. Obviously modeled on a Triceratops. This is an extremely chunky boy. 140 armor. It's got some incredible bulk to it, incredibly high health. Obviously you only get one. This is a feral one, so it has no bells and whistles on it. But still, bunch of horns, big old frills, loads of armor, loads of leadership, a speed of 50, so it's pretty quick. It technically got burning attacks. I don't know how it manages that. A charge bonus of 76. It is anti-infantry and armor pierce with huge damage. This thing moves extremely slowly and gets tired very quickly, as you might expect from seeing how massive it is, and it's got this huge bulky waistline. But once you see it charge into someone, that charge bonus really comes to the front because its mass pushes it through entire regiments of infantry. But as I was saying, sometimes even the Saurus, even these wild creatures that are cultivated and work with the Lizardmen with their somewhat lesser intelligence, even they can be blessed by astrological signs. So over here I have a blessed Stegodon. Now this there's so much to take in here. You can tell it's blessed because it's got these colourful scales on it, and they've also given it a little mouthpiece, and it's got, obviously it has bangles as well. Now the Feral Stegodon is the lesser version of the Ancient Stegodon, and Ancient Stegodon comes mounted with this big altar on top of it with some little standard paws on the back, a little accompaniment of Skinks with poison javelins, and the two front Skinks also operate the ballista on the front of it. So the the Ancient Stegodon is one of the most expensive, if not the most expensive. It's one of the 2 top tier units of the Lizardmen's roster, and this is a blessed Ancient Stegodon. Blessed, you might have also noticed, it took me a while to notice as well, but these blessed Saurus and this Stegodon, they have something called Perfect Vigor, and Perfect Vigor is this little green icon down here that means that no matter what action they do for the entire fight, their stamina will stay at maximum. You see where it says fresh, that will stay there forever, so their leadership never decreases because of tiredness, their melee attack and defense never decreases because of tiredness, and their speed never goes down because of tiredness. These guys can fight at top form forever. Oh, so yeah, that's all of them. It's a really, really expensive but really high damage army. Kroq-Gar is extremely expensive, especially with his horned one. The Saurus are very expensive themselves, and I'm rocking not one but two Stegodons. The Priest is pretty expensive as well, and the Kroq-Gar are expensive as well. But this video has already gone on way too long, considering how long the fight actually takes. It only takes 3 minutes, but let's get going. So the Chaos have arrived, headed by this unnamed generic Chaos Lord, looking very good. They've brought with them a Doom Cannon, or a Hell Cannon rather, which is manned by these Chaos Dwarves, a mysterious race that hasn't really been covered in any of the games yet. It's got a couple of ball bags. Oh, and they're already engaging my troops. Good shot, asshole. Did a little bit of damage. But yeah, God, there's already far too much to take in. Just there, you see this little dust trail. These Marauder Horsemen aren't very happy. Oh my God, oh my God, there's too much. There's too much. So I've got my little Skinks hurling javelins. This Stegodon has already got 7 kills because he fired that big ballista bolt into the wolves. All of my infantry is moving in on this big long line. Oh my God, I completely forgot to say as well, I've also got some pterodons, some blessed pterodons. So pterodons are, well, they're obviously modelled off pterodactyls. These are some blessed pterodons, and they come rode by Skinks. They have one special ability to use per map, which is they drop these like explosive shells that they carry in their claws. The Skinks usually have javelins with them, but because these are blessed pterodon riders, they have fire leech bowlers. So they're basically incendiary grenades that they huck off the pterodons. So what I'm using them to do is I'm using them to circle through the woodlands and attack this hell cannon, because that hell cannon is extremely damaging if it can put out enough rounds, because there's only one of it, but its damage and range is really, really good, and it's anti-armor, so it's a good counter to my very heavy Saurus. So I'm engaging the enemy lines with my Saurus, tempting them in. This Blessed Stegodon is just doing his thing. You can close him into the melee, as you can see that he still has weapon damage, charge bonus, melee attack, all that. He can do that, but I think he's much better placed whilst he still has ammunition to go about firing at the enemy. The Kroq-Gars are heading in. My Skink, he's measuring up his magic, gathering his power up. Oh my God, these Chaos Warriors really don't know what to do about this. They're sort of shafting themselves. The longer this goes on, the more losses they're going to take. So here you see the first Blessed cohort about to go toe to toe with some Chaos Warriors. Bit of a clumsy entrance there, but oh well, it's alright. Another fucking, this dude just got owned. You see these little spurts of fire as the pterodon riders fire their bowlers. Skink Priest at the back doing his magic. The Stegodon is moving into position. This counts as him moving fast, but I've told him to charge into here, so let's see how much damage he can do on this first charge. He's getting his run up, and oh! Now, he didn't go very far because these Chaos Warriors with an RM70 extremely heavily armoured, but still, that Stegodon is well and truly in the fight. Who else have we got? Who else have we got going around here? So we have you can see there, the Kroq-Gars they're a little bit unwieldy. Don't worry, those swords don't get hurt by friendly fire, but these Kroq-Gars, as you can see, they are really, really fucking scary, especially when they're chasing down a fleeing unit. Where's Kroq-Gar? He's over here. So here's Kroq-Gar. He's in and amongst it with his amazing glowing mount and his scary glowing right arm. He's used that to kill many Chaos. You can see already this fight has gone not to the Chaos' favour. This main scrum here is where they're doing the best. Here they're all breaking. This fight's going to go on for 43 more seconds. We've got some Skinks in the forest who have fended off some wolves. They're ready to move in on this cavalry that thinks it's safe. They don't realise the Skinks are behind them. We've got some Saurus warriors really chewing apart. Look at how they move. Very sort of nimble, bouncy side-to-side attacks. Very scary. The javelins are going in. These poor horsemen don't realise that the Skinks are there. Yeah, they suddenly realise they're breaking. Pterodons are still hooking their bowlers. I think the master out has been called. The Stegodon's still in amongst them. Sadly, we didn't get to see the Skink use all of his magic just because there's so much done, and that's a decisive victory. So yeah, that fight was kind of biased. Like, they had some good units in that they had a Hell Cannon and 2 units of Chaos Warrior Halberds. I think if they had surrounded my Stegodon or my Kroq-Gars, they could have done some real heavy damage. That could have gone better, because as you see, 19, 47, 52, 34, 29, 66, 36, 24, 14, no one really got any kills, and a lot of the enemy survived. What that was because of is Kroq-Gar causes terror, the Stegodons cause terror, the Kroq-Gars cause terror, so even the armies of Chaos can't go toe-to-toe with the Lizardmen, because they're simply too damaging and too scary, so they all backed out before I got a proper fight out of them. But yeah, hopefully that shows off some of the monsters, some of the very impressive monsters and the very impressive visuals that come with the Lizardmen.
I'll see you next time, bye!